We know that horoscope is a karmic blueprint, right? So why karmas are there? Like you see, we do karmas in past life. Based on the karma, punishment or reward happens in heaven or hell. Then repayment of the karma is also there, right? So for the repayment of the karma, we come in this earth. But this journey of the soul taking different bodies and all is also a journey in progress, is also a journey in realization, right? In fact, the essence of spirituality is realization only, right? So that the soul progresses in its journey of realization and eventually realizes the Godhead, Supreme Godhead. So all of these karmas that happen in our human life, day-to-day life, is made for the realization only, right? So that we realize things. So because horoscope also indicates karma, and there is not a particular house or a particular planet which indicates karma, right? All the houses of horoscope and all the planets indicate karma. And keeping this view in mind that karma is for us to evolve, for us to learn lessons. So there are lessons in the horoscope as well, right? And that lessons, if we learn by our knowledge, then the karma will be altered. See, it's not the righteous way to say that karma will be altered, though in spirituality of intellectual thought, the basic thought is that as you get the knowledge, as you get the gyan, right, the karmas gets destroyed, right? Because with gyan, karma gets destroyed. Gyan burns the karma. Why Gyan burns the karma? Because the purpose of the karma is realization only. Right? This is the thought in spirituality. Though I will not go on to say that, just having the knowledge will burn the karma and you will not go through the karma. It's not like that. Because for us mortals who are not realized, non-realized, we have to go through the karma, right? Because karma is not only lesson, right? Karma is also enjoyment or suffering into it. So though lesson can be learned from knowledge, but enjoyment or suffering have to be gone through. That is the particular reason that even realized people also have to go through painful phases, right? Such as Ramakrishna had cancer, Raman Maharshi had cancer, and all. They were realized, right? So there is no lesson to be learned, and because all the lessons are learned, soul goes into the way of progress and goes near to emancipation, near to perfection. But enjoyment and suffering still have to be endured. We cannot do anything about it. Enjoyment and suffering, some remedies, etc., can be done, but more or less it have to be beared. But this particular thing of learning the lesson, right? Because what will happen that if you learn the lesson, then the enjoyment or suffering will happen once only. But if you don't learn the lesson, then the suffering will keep on happening over and over again until and unless you learn the lesson. So that's why it is told in intellectual spirituality that realization gives liberation, right? Because then karmas will be once only, because realization is already achieved. Now only enjoyment or suffering, etc., is there. So technically, every planet and every house have some type of lesson, and that lesson is to be learned. And intelligent is the one, as it is told in the Shastras, intelligence is the one who learns from inference rather than from experience. And that's why Jyotish is eyes of the Vedas, right? Because with these eyes you can see everything, right? So without, even before going through the karma, you can see the lesson of the karma, and then the work is very simple, as I just explained you, right? So say if someone tell you what is my karma in marriage, suppose, then you see, for example, you say there is Jupiter connected to seventh house. Then it is dharma, right? So when Jupiter is connected to seventh house, dharma is important, then emotions is what is to be understood. This is the lesson, right? Rather than going through a painful experience to understand this particular lesson, What is to be understood is that one should follow the dharma. So in such cases, say when Jupiter is connected to the seventh house, my strong recommendation is that one should not go into love relationships, etc., because that will be pursuing the senses. And I am talking about Jupiter situated in the seventh house, right? I am not talking about Jupiter aspecting the seventh house, because there's a lot of difference between aspect and placement. If Jupiter is not alone, but it is situated with other planets, then other planets will also modify it, right? So things go through modification. It should be taken on face value only when the planet is alone, situated in the house, and in that no special conditions such as exaltation, debilitation, etc. is happening, right? All the standard examples are given taking this standard setup in mind, and any change in this setup, exaltation, debilitation, conjunction with other planets, etc., will change it. That have to be kept in mind. An intelligent astrologer will do modifications accordingly. We should also do modifications accordingly, right? The result which are told are standard result, which happens in standard cases. So when Jupiter is there in the seventh house, we know that the lesson is following of dharma. So such person, first of all, should not run behind senses. So affairs, etc., should not be done, right? One should have the dharmic approach that the marriage is for the purpose of dharma. The dharma in marriage is also childbirth, right? So one should first of all get marriage as per the dharma and the social religious customs. And secondarily, quickly after marriage, one should have childbirth. And then rather than running behind, I want this, I want to do this, I want to achieve this, one should have the approach of this is my responsibility, I should do this, this is my responsibility towards my spouse, this is my dharmic responsibility towards my spouse, this is my karma responsibility towards my spouse, this is my artha responsibility towards my spouse. This responsibility should be understood, right? That's the lesson if there is Jupiter in the seventh house. Now let's take example of a planet like Sun. If Sun is situated in the seventh house, then what is the lesson? What is the karmic lesson? What Sun teaches you? Sun teaches you that you should keep on doing what you are doing despite the obstacle or challenges that you may have, particularly with respect to relation. So when Sun is there in the seventh house, the lesson is that we should not expect the other person to behave the way in which we want them to behave. The other person is free in behaving whatever the way they want, but we should have a standard behavior, right, towards them. This is the lesson of Sun, right? There is very good saying in Hindi, which if I roughly translate, it will be like, no matter what the other person does, right, you should stay true to your position, stay true to yourself, right? So it's not like other person is cheater, so you also become a cheater. Other person is liar, so you also become a liar. It's not like that. You are not a liar, right? You are a good person. So even if the other person is a pathetic person, there's maybe a pathetic person, but you have to be a true person. You have to be a righteous person. So despite what other person is doing, you continue to shine in your greatness, shine in your beauty, is what Sun indicates you. Sun tells you better you learn, earlier you learn it, better is it is. Otherwise, what will happen? Bad experiences will keep on repeating. Also, there is one more thing related to Sun. Sun indicate pursuance, right? So the lesson of Sun, particularly related to marriage, is that do not ignore the marital relationship. Generally, what happens, Sun is connected to seventh house, one slowly becomes ignorant of their spouse, becomes very self-centered, but this self-centeredness should not be there, right? So one should worry about their spouse like they worry about themselves. In fact, one should worry about their spouse more than themselves. This is the lesson that it teaches. And until and unless you learn, for every planet, any planet in any house, there is a lesson. And until and unless you learn the lesson, it will keep on giving you painful experiences. In many cases, I have seen that even the best result of the planet that is indicated do not start fructifying until and unless one learns the lesson. So learning this lesson is very important. Then only one small bad experience happens, but because you have learned the lesson beforehand, things become good and smooth. So this is the most life-changing remedy that one can do, right? In fact, let's take 10th house. What is the lesson related to 10th house? For example, suppose there is, say there is Saturn in the 10th house. What is the lesson of Saturn in the 10th house? The lesson of the Saturn in the 10th house is that, like, say multiple opinions, multiple quotes, etc. is there, right? So there is a particular quote You will, like, there's a photo, right? Like, there is a person who is boss and he is telling his employees to do something. So there are people who are carrying a very heavy load, right? So a big stone is kept on a, like, type of a cart without any engine or any animal to put it. And there are people pushing it. And there is a person who is boss and telling them to pull. This is boss. And then there will be a photo where it will say that leader is the one who pushes with them rather than giving them the order. So this lesson of leadership is what is the lesson of Saturn. So when the Saturn is situated in the 10th house, the lesson is that you yourself get involved in everything you want to do. Right? This is the lesson. That it's not getting your work done by people. It's doing your work with people. Right? So the people you work with are not under you. Right? They are not like your servants. They are like your arms. They are like your body parts. And you do not take work out of them. You work with them. Right? That's the lesson. Until and unless you learn the lesson, the Saturn will keep on troubling you. Right? So in this manner, with respect to every house, there is a lesson. That lesson is to be learned. If you learn the lesson, the pain is greatly reduced and bad results come very little. And if one does not learn the lesson, then even the best planet, even the best combinations I have seen, more or less issues it will keep on creating. Right? Even for the best of the planet, even for benefics exalted in a house, some shortcoming, some bad result is always there with respect to every planet, right? When you learn astrology deeply, you will see every combination have positive and negative aspect. So even in best of the combination, before the realization, you will say that little bit bad result is coming. And after realization, even in worst of the combinations, there will be great saving grace because the lesson have been learned. Right? So with this particular aspect in mind, and this is very important in doing karmic analysis through horoscope, that we understand what are the lessons of each and every planet for us. And we learn that lesson, and it's not just listening to the lesson or remembering to the lesson, right? We become one with the lesson, right? So we get the lesson and always remember the lesson. See, knowledge is not only listening, just listening in once, right? Knowledge is having the knowledge in you, contemplating and acting on it every day. Right. So this lesson should be learned, this lesson should be remembered, and this lesson should be contemplated upon, made a part of day-to-day life. Then you break free from the chain of karma, and the soul actually progresses in its journey of progression, of betterment. And then actually the purpose of human birth is fulfilled, is what I believe.